This man was given a life sentence in 1994 and then a whole life tariff 23 years later. Well, hello there, stranger. This is part 36 of the England's Whole Lifers list, so viewer discretion, as always, is advised. So today I'm telling you about Anthony Ayres, who was born in 1967 and who the media nicknamed the pint-sized sadist, as he's only 5 feet tall. I've got no information on his childhood or upbringing, but I can tell you that his violence against women started at a pretty young age, because he was first arrested in 1988 at the age of 21. He throttled his girlfriend until she passed out. And then a year later, in 1989, he had a different girlfriend and he manually compressed her neck and slapped her. Nothing further seems to have come from either of these incidents. And then by 1993, when he was 26, he was in a relationship with a 30-year-old woman named Dawn Wisdom from East London. Dawn had fallen pregnant with their child, however she decided to terminate the pregnancy. Dawn told Ayres that she had decided to terminate the pregnancy, and she told him the reason was that she did not believe he was fit to be a father. He was enraged by this and brutally attacked her, taking her life by manual compression of the neck, thus proving Dawn to be 100% correct that Ayres was in fact not fit to be a father. Poor Dawn was found by family members in her flat a few days after, and Ayres was arrested for her unaliving. He was sentenced to life in prison in 1994. And I know what you're thinking, stranger. Here we go again, right? And I'm sorry to say that yes, right. Because even with his history of violence against women and the brutal taking of Dawn Wisdom's life, after 18 years in prison, Ayres is released on licence in May 2012. So he's released and goes to live at a bail hostel caravan park type thing on Canvey Island in Essex. During his time there, he becomes acquainted with 36-year-old Kelly Pearce, who was from Canvey Island. Kelly was a mum of one, and she was described as bubbly and friendly and likeable and a very sociable girl. Some reports describe Kelly as Ayres' girlfriend, but their relationship is not clear. Kelly had gotten into the wrong scene and started using substances. Perhaps that's why she was keeping such bad company as Ayres, but that's just me speculating. Kelly was also friends with another guy, Joseph Withers, who also knew Ayres. And that brings us to the 19th of November 2015. And Kelly was out and about that day, and she'd seen Ayres, but she was hanging out with her friend Joseph Withers at his flat. At some point in the evening, Ayres shows up to Withers's flat as well, and Kelly and Withers ask Ayres if he will lend them a tenner for some cigarettes. He says yes, but that he's left his wallet back at his own flat and will Withers go with him to get it. Withers said yes and left the flat, and at this point Ayres locked him out. So Withers is locked out of the flat, leaving Kelly inside with Ayres, and it was at this point that he attacked Kelly in a frenzy. He had taken a sharp implement and a hammer with him to the flat, and it was those weapons that he used against Kelly. She sustained more than 40 injuries to her head, neck and face. Withers did manage to regain entry to the flat, but at that point it was too late for poor Kelly. Ayres fled the scene and emergency services were called. They did everything that they could for Kelly, but she would later pass away in the hospital. Withers was obviously questioned by police, and in his interviews he did voluntarily tell them that he was a diagnosed paranoid schizophrenic. He told the police what I've just told you about being locked out of the flat, and he also said that when he'd regained entry he saw Ayres standing over Kelly, hitting her with a hammer or something. Ayres was located and arrested the next morning, and he was still wearing the same clothes as he had had on the night before, which were now covered in dried red fluid. He also had wounds to his hands, but he told police that he had found Kelly in that state and that it was Withers who had attacked her. And that was the defence he used throughout the trial. He went not guilty and tried to use Joseph Wither's medical condition against him. He said that he had found Kelly that way and assumed that she had been shot, as there had been blood everywhere. Withers also gave evidence, and when asked why he had said that he had seen Ayres standing over Kelly hitting her with a hammer or something, he said simply that that was the best description that he could give. Thankfully, with his history and the evidence against him, the jury saw through Ayres' despicable defence and found him guilty of the murder of Kelly Pierce. The judge described the attack on Kelly as borderline sadistic and sentenced Ayres to a whole life tariff, 23 years after he was sentenced to life for the murder of Dawn Wisdom. And so yet again on this list we are seeing a man be released from prison for taking a life, only to go on and take another life. I wonder how many there will be by the end of this list. It never ceases to amaze me. Rest in peace to Dawn Wisdom and Kelly Pierce. I'm sorry the justice system failed you. But to you, stranger, if you've stayed with me up until now, then thank you for listening, and I will see you for the next one.